Welcome to this episode of Beauty Business Matters, and I am absolutely thrilled that we have got Andrea Simpson with us. So I'm Susan Routledge, I'm your host. Andrea, I just can't believe we've just been talking about how long we've been working together. It's 4 years I've been mentoring you.
I just cannot get my head around that. That is just gone in a flash, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I just said half the time.
Yes.
Crazy. Well, the thing is that you know that I'm your biggest champion, and what you have done from the start of your career to where you are now is formidable. It's absolutely amazing. So I know your journey, but can you just explain, really going back from, because you started in a totally different career, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I've not exactly had the normal conventional route, whatever that is, into the beauty industry. But yeah, my journey started off, back in 1986 when I joined the British Army. I joined the Women's Royal Army Corps, and that took me off to Germany, and that started something inside me when it came to travel and adventure and saying yes and having all these incredible experiences kind of put in my way in a really positive way for me to take on and learn and, mix with so many people from all different walks of life, from every kind of background that you could even imagine, and it really gave me a great backbone for work ethic, and for believing that you can do things and do different things and take things completely out of where you grew up and what you're actually doing to achieve what you want to do.
So what made you go down that route? And the thing is, because from being really, really small, being a child, all I ever wanted to do was be either in the fashion industry or the beauty industry. Yours was a totally different start, though. Where did that spark come from for that career?
You're right, it is, but it came from, my dad used to always take me every year to RF in Inley, which was a big air display show in Yorkshire, and every year to see the ladies and gentlemen with their uniforms on, and they looked so smart, and there was just such a pull for me to that. But equally, I'd always had something about skin and beauty in me. From the age of 10, I was buying products. Remember Anne French, the cleanser?
Oh, yes.
And witch hazel, so I was using all of those things. And I went to college, and I went to sixth form, and I used to see all the girls back in the 80s that were going to tech, that were training to do hair and beauty, and they'd get on and they would all be glamorous with their perms and their blue eyeshadow and their pink lipstick and everything else, and they were so glamorous, and at that time I didn't quite feel that I fitted that persona.
Yeah.
So I passed my exams, and then I applied for all three services, because, like I say, I wanted to leave the mining town that I grew up in, and the British Army offered me the first place, so I took it and made some incredible friends. I'm still friends to this day with really, really good friends with 4 ladies. We all joined up together, and we've been in touch all of these years onwards, so which is fantastic, really.
So where did the switch come then?
The switch came, so I'd served out in Germany, and I'd done a tour of the Falklands as well, which was incredible. That was back in 1987. And I'd got married then, and I'd left the service, and I worked for the civil service for a little while, and we did some time out in Northern Ireland in the late 80s, early 90s. We moved out to Cyprus, and I worked for the civil service out there, and I worked for the highest civil servant on the island. I was his PA. And we got posted back, and I had my son. And when I had him, that's when I said, this is it. And that's what I did. I went back to college, back to my local college. And I walked in the door, Susan, and I just had this incredible feeling of, I'm here. And I've smiled every day ever since, from being in this job that I do now.
Fantastic. So what happened as soon as you left then? Was that at that point that you started your own business?
It wasn't, no. So I did the usual route. I went off, and one of my first gigs as a therapist was at the Belfry in the Midlands. And they were one of the first, if not the first, spas to actually have a spa. And I remember vividly doing my concept training, as it was then, and we had this incredible trainer that'd flown in, and she'd come from India or somewhere like that, and I secretly thought to myself, I want your job. I don't know why, but I did from that moment in time, and I kind of manifested it from there. But what that gave me was this incredible sense of, because when I was at college, I'd always had a big pull to the science. I loved facials. I loved the technical side of facials. I loved the ingredients. I loved the equipment and all of that. And strangely enough, way back then when I was doing my level 3, again, I said to myself, this is all I really would like to do, is work with skin and work with just doing facials. Obviously, I trained in everything else, but the passion wasn't there. The love wasn't there in the same capacity. So I fell in love with Espar's concept of the Ayurvedic.
Is this principles. When it was just a small range, when the cleanser used as a moisturiser?
Yeah. So it was literally, I think Susan was still making them, bringing it together in the kitchen with Marianne, who was the training director at the time, but went on to be a training director. And there was something very magical about it. And again, it implanted something in me. There was something very special about it, and I was kind of there in the early stages of it, and it never left me. It never left me from that moment.
It's beautiful company, though. The thing is, because we got it very, very early on in my clinic, as I say, when it was that small range, and I can still remember the aromas and things. It was just
very special. And what Susan, and she's still an incredible icon to me today, what she was achieving when she did. I mean, she was talking about, blue light and how it affects your sleep pattern, pigmentation, etc. years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
And she was and she still is, so ahead of her time. And I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but whenever I think about, can I do this, am I able to do this, I always think to myself, Susan was 48 when she started Espar, and look where she is now, what she achieved. So age has no boundaries. No matter how old you are, you can do anything.
So, did you get the trainer's job?
I did. A long way round. So, my tutor at college saw something I don't know what she saw in me, but she saw something in me, and she kind of nurtured me on to come on and do some teaching. So I lectured in FE probably about 11 years on and off. I had a stint where I moved out to the Middle East, and my husband's job took us out there, and we put our son in school in there, and I did a little bit of work out there, worked for a Medispa out there. They had a huge Emirati clientele, and they wanted to kind of bring more expats in into the clinic. So that was an incredible experience there, and we worked with the royals there as well. So we worked with the sheikhs while we were there. So I had that element of what we did as well. So I lectured, I came back, did a little bit more lecturing, did my teaching degree, got that through Derby University, which was at a time when there was so much happening in life. To this day, I don't know how I managed to do it all. I was teaching full time, my husband was away, so I was kind of looking after our son full time. I was, doing my Cert Ed, and it was just full on. But I did it, I achieved it, and it was a great moment for me, a really great moment of achievement. So yeah, where did we go from there? So I was lecturing. Oh, I had a skincare centre as well. So I had some staff.
Of
so
course.
I was teaching.
Just throw something else in the mix.
I was teaching, and I was doing all of that. And in fact, that happened before, when I think about it. So I sold that when we went out to the Middle East. So it kind of worked that way around. And then I'd been lecturing for some time, and I moved went to work for Ellison's. So they were bringing on, they wanted to introduce a MVQ roll-on, roll-off program for students to come in and pick up, go do their training, off they go and get their MVQ with City and Girls. So I set that program up and got that all up and running. In the meantime, I got the call of the lifetime, and that was to interview for ESPA. So that's exactly what I did. And I remember, I can visualise it all now. I remember walking in that door, and I was greeted by a lovely lady, and who showed me upstairs. And as I was walking up, there was all these big kind of lamps that were, lampshades that were like big fluffy clouds. I mean, you see them all the time now, but back then it was something incredible. But the feeling of that building, was like nothing I've ever experienced before. I felt the magic. I felt there was something really incredible happening in that building. And I interviewed, and I just had this really great sense. And the training director, Marianne, she said, I want you to go home and think about this, because you're not going to be home much. And it's a big thing, really. And so I went home and I sat down with my husband and our son, and I said, it's there. And they both went, you've looked after us and you've done everything for us all of this time. It's your time to fly now. Do it. And that's exactly what I did. And I lived out of a suitcase forever. The whole time I was doing it. It was the most insanely incredible, hard work, but beautiful experience I've ever had. And I'll always be grateful for that.
So where were you travelling to? Was it...
I was global, so I could be anywhere in the country. So I could be anywhere in UK and equally anywhere overseas. So it took me around the world. I did stop for a little while. I had to have some surgery in Bahrain, and emergency surgery while I was training at the Ritz-Carlton out there. I'd been out there for 3 weeks. I had an incredible time, felt really sick and got ill. So I had to rethink things a little while. So I kind of stepped out of that role, and I went to go and work for lovely Sharon Hilditch at Crystal Clear. So I was their national trainer for a little while, which was wonderful. And then, I've got so many adventures. So many adventures. And then my husband called me up and he went, I've been offered a job out in the Caribbean. How do you fancy it?
Oh, wow.
And I went, oh my gosh. I said, I've just got this job, and I'd only been in there about 9-10 months or something like that. So anyway, Crystal Clear were amazing. They said, you've got this incredible opportunity, go. So I did, and my director of training from ESPA found out where I was going, and she said, do you fancy doing some training for us? So then I became their training manager for the Americas and the Caribbean. So I was based out of Kingston, Jamaica, and I would go out to anywhere in the States. So I literally travelled to every single city in the States, there and back. with working with brands across the board as Aspire do. They only work with the best. So the Mandarin Orientals, the Peninsulas, the one and onlys, the Ritz-Carltons, everywhere at the top of their game in every capacity, their client journey, their little touches, just how they make a guest experience extremely special. And so I was very fortunate because as I stayed there as a guest, which was wonderful. So I got to experience, the whole theatre of what they do.
So well done.
So well done. But equally, very privileged that I saw backstage what was happening and how it was all brought together. So an incredible learning experience for me, really. And to know that I was, working with the best therapists around the world.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you about this soon. I'm going to ask for some golden nuggets soon once we've...
I've got plenty of those.
So then what happened? Heavens.
Oh gosh, right. So I was out there and I took my things out there as well, because I'd always kind of kept everything and worked as I did. So I took my things out there, and we got a little helpers area in our little villa, and so I set that up as a little clinic. So while I was there, when I wasn't out in the States or in one of the other islands, I was working on clients. So my hands have always been on the tools. I've always kept busy with my hands, and as much as education's a really big part of everything that I do, so I was working with, like I say, with the expats there and with the diplomats on the island, etc. So again, another great experience of, education, which I love with a passion, and also keeping my hands busy doing what I love as well.
And in an excellence as well, which is what you exude in everything that you do. So then when did you come back?
So we came back, gosh, I lose track of time now. It's probably 7 years ago now. We came back. My husband's contract finished. They'd finished the role that they needed to do. So I came back, but I was still commuting across the pond. That was my choice, purely and simply because I loved training out in the States. My personality fitted really well. I loved all of it. And I did that, I think, for just over a year. And it got to that point where I was just in a constant time warp. I'd be, I'd go down to Heathrow from the Midlands. So I'd drive down there. It might be Saturday night where I'd stay over if it was a really early red eye, or I'd drive down Saturday, early hours Sunday morning, fly out, get to where I was staying, and there's some adventures that have been happening there as well, from me getting from A to B. And so yeah, I'd get there, try and sleep, train all week, and then usually a Friday night I would train all day, leave, hop on the night flight, overnight flight, back into Heathrow, drive back home. Which sounds exhausting. It was, but everything that I got on the back of it, and it was an incredible experience. But I just got to that point where I thought, I can't do this for much longer. And then something really special happened to me. I was walking in a little village just near where I live, and I appeared in this tiny little, it's a beautiful, beautiful village, Melbourne, Derbyshire, tiny little picturesque village, appeared in this little shop that was a children's shop. And I peered in through this window, and I said to Steve, I went, this would be perfect. And there was it was just me peering in. And I think I made a little wish that day, because that was on the Sunday. And this is so true. Friday morning, I'm screaming down the stairs to Steve saying, oh my gosh, you'll never guess what. Guess what's come up for let? The actual premises. And it had come up on social media. So I'm immediately texting the property company saying, I know it's only 7:30. I can't wait for 9 o'clock for you to open. I need to be first in to see this. And she called me 5 minutes later. I'd viewed within 2 hours. My Steve, he was on a conference call. So I said yes. Then I went home and I went, you better come and have a look at this because I said yes. And he walked through the door and he said, yeah, you've got to do this. You have got to do this. And on the little oak step that I've still got, I've retained that, there was a little sign that said, dreams really do come true. And the lady that had the premises, she said, I think this is meant to be and you need to have that. And it's still on that little oak step today.
Oh, wow. I love a bit of manifesting. You know?
Yeah,
we're always manifesting, aren't we?
I'm a big believer in manifesting, and totally. It does work. And I think years and years ago, I wasn't aware of it, that I was doing it automatically. And but obviously more people talk about it now.
Yeah, it's all very woo-woo then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So then, how long did it take to convert into a clinic then from...
Very quickly, actually. My husband took all his leave and we had a month of renovation. So I got the keys on the 15th of April. We were going away. It was our 30th wedding anniversary. So we ended up sat in this little place of mine that I've got, full of dust, having fish and chips from the village fish and chip shop on our 30th wedding anniversary. I wouldn't have changed it for the world. So it was about a month it took us before I actually opened. And when I opened, I didn't have a client. So, and then it took me aback just how quickly it all happened. And then, of course, lockdown hit.
Yeah.
That was about 10 months later, which, I think from an industry, we're all fully aware of what happened there.
Yeah.
I was very lucky because I put money away. I kind of had a little savings account. So I kind of sailed, as I was very fortunate that I sailed through that.
Yeah.
But I worked on my business throughout the whole of lockdown, working with my current clients, working with new clients, working with them at a distance, dropping their products off when I could. I worked with a great brand that once they were up and running, they delivered to them. So when I came back after when we were allowed to come back to work, it was boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
I think it was a time to make a special bond with clients, wasn't it? I think that, and I know in Beauty Directors Club, we really, really sort of like just decided that we were, we were going to make it and make it really good, and really, really like sort of stayed so positive all the way through. And I think it gave some salons the opportunity to come out of the industry and some people to probably change careers that they would never maybe have done before, but it gave them the excuse to do it. But I think for a lot of salons, and like you and like us, you just came out of it so much stronger. And as I say, that I think it was that time of like, it was a bonding session, like bonding time as well.
It was. And there were two things that came out of it for me, really. It was the real power of touch and how that much that connection and that physical element of touching people, the difference it actually makes. And I remember vividly one of my first clients coming in. She was a lady that she'd lost her husband, she'd got no family. And that moment when I did her treatment and I finished and I kind of tapped her and held her hand and tears came down her face. I get quite emotional thinking about it now. It was the most incredible experience of the power of touch and what a difference one human being can make to another human being, and people quite it's a treatment, it's a facial, etc.
It's not.
It is so much more, and it really did charge me that we have, as therapists, we have a beautiful gift of being invited into somebody's personal space and to be able to see them in being vulnerable, but for them to trust in us at that time is a wonderful thing. It really is a wonderful thing. And like you were saying, through lockdown, you know, reaching out to other therapists and that networking and what we did together. And I'm still on a little group. There's half a dozen of us that formed this little group from all over the country. And we all of a certain level, and we all do facial treatments, and we're all, one-man bands to that effect. But we still bounce off each other today. So again, something else really powerful came out of that for me.
Yeah. And then from there, obviously, you just... Well, I can remember you getting to the point where it was like you were on that VAT limit. And that is where I think for so many, it's either you either suppress or just go with it. And I can remember us having this conversation and then you saying, I'm just going to fly.
Yeah. But I think that's because you gave me the confidence to do that. And when I came into Beauty Directors Club, again, it was from that little group of networking, and I'd met this wonderful kind therapist, Sam, and she said, I think I know the right person for you. And we had our call, and it was just like, I just immediately felt this, because I was working 90 plus hours a week doing treatments. And as much as I love what I was doing, I was just getting to that point of, exhaustion, just juggling everything as we do. And I felt like a deer in the headlights. And everything, when I came off that call, and I felt my shoulders drop, and I just felt, this is it. This everything that you said to me within the first 5 minutes, I took on board and I actioned straight away, everything. And it's through that, and also because I joined your Salon Success Freedom as well, which really gave me the tools to look at my business completely differently. But when the VAT threshold came, I kind of like, oh gosh, for one, it's an incredible achievement to get to that, and to get to that so fast. But equally, it's a big jump to actually take and have trust and kind of confidence in yourself to, once you hit that, you've got to fly. And, through you holding my hand with it all and saying, you've got this, I did it. And I did. And the wonderful thing is, the scary thing was about my clients, telling them. But every single one of my clients came in and said, Andrea, this is incredible. This is a celebration. You should be so proud of yourself that you've actually achieved this. And we're so happy for you. And I didn't lose one client, not one.
But this is where, the hours that you were working weren't sustainable. You were a victim of your own success.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that's just not sustainable to work those hours. Now you've got it into such a great work-life balance, and 12 weeks off, you take a year.
I know. That's been a game changer. So when I am in clinic, I'm in clinic, and I work long hours, long days, etc. And I'm a little bit like the Scarlet Pimpernel sometimes to get hold of, because I do book the trend. I don't do things the same as everyone else. I don't have an online booking system, and the reason for that is it's all about that personal experience, that initial contact, that initial reach out, that connection and that communication is there before that client even steps through the door. Because I just want them to feel really, really comfortable in what they do. And
this is the thing, because obviously clients just want to be with you. So when we put in place the long-term booking, clients just went with it, and that just means that you've planned so far ahead now.
And my clients love it, and they do get quite anxious if they're not booked in, because they want to be in, and they help one another. They swap. they'll call me up, I've got an hospital appointment, can anybody do a swap with me? And everybody helps one another. It's a great community that I've got. But I think where it came from, when I stumbled upon my little place, and she is only small, she gives you the biggest hug when you walk in, does my little place. It's one treatment room, it's a beautiful reception, a little mezzanine landing, and it's tucked away, but it has such a nurturing environment.
It's like a hug, isn't it?
It's like a hug when you actually walk in. And when I said yes, I went home and I got a blank piece of paper and I drew a big heart in the middle of it, and across that I just wrote, "It's never just a facial."
Yeah, I love that.
And that is, to this day, it's the heartbeat of everything I do. Every decision I make, every brand I work with, every treatment I do, all my clients, anything. If there's anything, I go back to those 5 little words, because they are me. They're everything, and it's everything that I do, and that's how I want my treatments to be.
Yeah,
it's important.
I'm so pleased you trademarked it as well. So
which was easier than I expected it to be.
Exactly, I told you it would be. So obviously now we moved on to new exciting times as well. So obviously now you've got this into like such a great balance, and as well I think it's important to say that it's what you've done is part of what you've done is taken away, so every treatment is totally tailored with your multi-level using equipment in different ways and using different technologies. And I think then as well, it does totally then make everything that you do price irrelevant, because there's no one else does it like you. And this is what I always try to get over to salon owners and directors, that like it's got to be where it is just something that, like, your clients, it's not the treatment, and it is never just a facial, because it's like it's the spin, like not the spin, but it's what you've put onto that makes it so unique. That is, and now you're using time now to teach others that.
It is, and like as I said, education has been a big part of my life, and I've had some incredible mentors in my life too, and they've shaped me and given me the experience that that I've actually got, and it's been happening. Probably organically happening for a good 2 to 3 years now, where people have been reaching out to me. I get on average 3 to 4 messages a week from other therapists looking at different pieces of equipment that I've got that they're interested in buying, etc., and for feedback, and more I think since I've kind of been working a lot with professional beauty and obviously with what happened with the awards with Babtac, and my profile is kind of raised again quite organically, that people can see what I'm doing as a solo business operator and the success that I've achieved with it without losing any of my values or integrity, and how I look at my clients, and how I fuse the science and the Ayurvedic beautifully together. That makes, what I like to say is to make an exceptional treatment extraordinary. There's just that little something that you just can't put your finger on it. It's and that is. It creates some magic.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
it creates some magic.
Magic's the word. It's magical. And I know even obviously when we do the Beauty Roundup events, everyone loves listening to you, because it is like your passion just exudes from you. But as well, what I want to touch on, we did touch there on awards, but as well, you are the only advanced therapist in the UK on the Fab Service Stars, which is again, I can remember saying, you've got to go for this, and that has been phenomenal for you.
Do you know, I think the whole concept of the Fab Service Stars and Nurgish's dream and vision for what she wants. So, about exceptional. I'm all about standards. Anywhere where we can raise standards, raise awareness, and put us out there that we know what we're doing and we work to the highest standards that we possibly can and more, and for that to be recognised in that arena. So as soon as I heard about the Fab Star Awards from yourself, it was like, I need this. So I went through the process, and I now have 3 Fab Service stars, which are, as you know, like the Michelin stars of our industry, and then I was invited to apply for the advanced therapy one, which I did, and yes, I do have one of those. So I'm very, very proud of that. Very proud, because I think what's great about the Fab Star is that they are you can't fudge it, basically. The algorithms are there, and you put it in and no stone goes unturned, which is fantastic, which is how it should be. And it's completely independent, which is fantastic.
What I love as well is that if someone doesn't get it, they get Nurgish's wisdom of like where they can excel, which is,
it's priceless.
Priceless, yeah.
Absolutely priceless. So it's a win-win.
I know.
Every way you look at it.
I'm now on the advisory board as well, which I'm so proud of as well, which is fantastic. I don't know. I just love the whole concept of it. So obviously now you are teaching what you do with your new element.
Exactly. So that I launched that. I was speaking at Pro Beauty in Manchester with yourself for the Beauty Roundup, and I was on the skin and advanced technology stage as well, which was incredible. And yes, I've launched the Facial Mentor, which is, like I said, it's come across quite organically, and it is niching things down. It's very bespoke, very, very spoke, very, very one-to-one. I'm calling it Come and Spend the Day with Me, because everybody's business is completely different. Everybody's, a little portfolio of equipment that they've got, brands that they work with. But what I want to do is help people make their treatments extraordinary, to take the elements of what they've got and use the equipment that they've actually got, but in possibly a different way, and to bring other things in that cost very little, that just elevate a treatment to something really, really special. So which people can then create, have the confidence to create their own signature treatments, just like I've done with my autograph facials, that it gives them the confidence to do that. And obviously that little mentoring along the way with, about brands I've worked with. I'm putting together a little black book of people that I trust. So if I've not got the expertise, or the knowledge to help, then I can actually say, this person I wholeheartedly can recommend, and they can steer you in the direction that I can't, but this is the person that you actually need to speak to, because I'm a real champion of other people, and I'm the therapists that are in my area and beyond. I know most of them, and I forever are referring clients to, to this person, to that person, because we all have different strengths and we all specialise in different things. And I think it's really good to champion and share with each other and support each other. We all have a different client set. We all have a different mindset and mindfulness and our approach to treatment. So I think it's really important that we champion and cheer each other on.
I think a lot of salon owners are scared of that, but the thing is that we do it with Beauty Round. When you've got everyone together, everyone just gets on, and I always think there's enough work for everyone. And I think you're very much like me. I know exactly what I'm good at, but I'm certainly not a social media expert. I'm certainly not. So the thing is that then I would always work with other experts and things, and you're very much exactly the same. What I want to do now is I want some of your golden nuggets so we can pass them on to everyone. So obviously from Ritz-Carlton everywhere, there's some things that, I mean, your customer service excellence is exceptional.
Yeah.
So what are some of the sort of the little things that you were teaching other to do?
I think it's connection. I think it's being in the mindset from the minute that you walk in the door, even before you come into your work environment, and being appreciative of that. So I think it's that connection, that eye contact, and reading that person that's actually coming through the door. So wherever you can engage in communication before they come in, particularly with a new client, I think it really does help piece together that they are going to be the right client for you, and equally you're going to be the right therapist for them. And but I think that connection and listening for me, listening is everything. I watch people's body language. I use a lot of dosha when I'm working in my consultation process. So, most people have done disc training, etc., personality traits. In Ayurvedic, and when you're working with doshas, it takes it to another dimension completely. So, I'm looking for the dosha traits of that individual that's coming through the door. It's all very subliminal. They'll not be aware of it in the slightest, but I'll possibly be speeding up their treatments if they're a little bit kind of slow, because I want to bring balance. I want to bring homeostasis, inside out, outside in. So and that is, I think for me, is a real key to true personalisation of a treatment, because I think when you're actually looking at an individual to that extent and trying to connect them with them on all levels and bring balance, that's so important to making a treatment incredible.
Just out of interest, how long is your average time that a client spends with you? Because you sort of, when you're saying this, it sounds as if like a client comes in and's with you, like, and that's their full time kind of thing. But how often? What kind of time is it?
Hands-on treatment is generally anything between an hour and an hour 15 as a whole.
Yeah.
Generally, if I'm working to that time scale, I'll have an hour and a half approximately booked out. Because I work by myself, I am running reception, I'm running the room, I'm getting it all prepped, ready for the next client coming through. But equally, the first thing I do is when my client comes through the door is welcome back. Just that welcome back. It's lovely to see you. I take them through, and it's how have you been? How has your skin been? Before we do anything else, and just picking up from where we left, because I do feel that you really have to invest in your client. They're investing in you financially, and time is very precious. So they're investing a lot in you. So you've got to give them that time back. I don't like them to feel rushed. But equally, like I say, I spend time with them before, and it is very much a conversation type consultation process. I do their treatment, but equally they're not rushed at the end of the treatment either. There's time. I do a lot of my retail suggestions right at the beginning of the treatment, to find out where they are, how they're getting on, and make the recommendations then. And my retail is through the roof. I think it's I think on my last fab, it was 97%, I think I was retailing at.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. But this is the thing, and I think this is what someone really needs to take away, is that hour to an hour and 15 is, it's not just treatment. It's treatment, but it's personal treatment. It's not your clients. It's not about how long that 10-minute massages and all this sort of kind of thing.
No.
It's from the time that they, even before they come in the door, all the way through, right the way through to the time that they leave until the next time they come. It's like a continual journey.
It is. And I think the wonderful thing is my clients don't clock watch.
No.
They come in and they'll do just whatever you need to do today, Andrea, do it. Which is, I mean, to have that confidence and that trust in me is wonderful. And so they look at me that I'm giving them what they need for their skin. So they might come in and it might be that, well, okay, we'll do some microneedling for you today. We're not, we're going to do that. Might put some other little bits in, some other layers with it. But the next time they come, they might be with me for an hour and a half. Depending on what I'm doing, but equally that they trust in that I am doing the right thing with every little bit of integrity that I've got for their skin on the day, but not just on the day, their skin tomorrow, 3 months, 5 years. And I always say to them, I always want to know that whatever I'm doing for your skin today, if I bumped into you 20 to 30 years down the line, that I look at you and I know for a fact that I've done everything with the best integrity that I've got of giving you the best skin that I possibly can. Yeah.
And I think, everyone's going to take so much from this, because this is how we should all be working. This is how it should be in our industry. It shouldn't be that it's just get someone in, do a treatment, get them out kind of thing. And you're proof that retailing, it's like, I always like to say, if someone has 12 facials a year, you're looking at like half a day that you're with someone. There's still 364 and a half days where they're just left to their own resources to go and source what they need to use, or they think they need to use on skin. It's a whole thing of it has to all be all together. And you have encompassed that in bucket loads.
Yeah, I think as well, a lot of my clients, because I've got, I'm booked so far ahead and I've got quite a big wait list as well, we'll touch base and we'll have a consultation, and I will get them on home care first, so that it might be they're on home care for 3 months with regular check-ins, etc., before I get them in for treatment, because it's all about education, that if they're healthier and the better skin, condition I've got their skin before, that when they come in for their professional time, I can really be professional with it, and that home care, it's not just about treatment, it's home as well, and bringing the two together. And when the clients see the results that are coming from that, then they know their investment has been well placed.
And again, then they're walking adverts, and then your wait list grows a little bit more. Andrea, this has been absolutely fabulous. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, how would they get in touch with you?
Oh, I'd love to hear from anyone. So Instagram's my bigger one. So I'm Andrea Simpson, facialist. You can also find me as Andrea Simpson, sorry, not Andrea Simpson, the facialist, Andrea Simpson, facialist, and the Facial Mentor on Instagram. And I've got websites in both those names as well. So give me a Google, drop me a DM. I'd love to hear from you.
And hopefully as well, fingers crossed, we'll have you at more Beauty Roundup events as well.
I hope so. That is the Beauty Roundups are phenomenal. The feedback I get from that, and I know you do, is phenomenal. So thank you. This has been amazing.
It has been amazing. You are amazing. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you.